The story of Joan of Arc.
A girl named Joan. Joan of Arc was born in 1412 in the small village of Domremy, France. She came from a poor family of farmers and spent her childhood helping on the farm and learning about her faith. Even as a young girl, Joan was known for her kindness, honesty, and strong religious devotion. A country at war. At the time, France had been fighting a long and difficult war with England, known as the 100 Years' War. Much of northern France was occupied by English forces, and the people were suffering. The rightful heir to the French throne, Charles VII, had not yet been crowned, and many doubted he ever would be. Messages from heaven. When Joan was just 13, she began hearing voices she believed came from saints sent by God. She said that Saint Michael, Saint Catherine, and Saint Margaret told her to help save France. Joan believed it was her mission to drive out the English and help crown Charles as king. The journey to Charles. In 1429, Joan left her home and traveled to meet Charles VII, who was living in hiding. After several attempts, she convinced his court to let her speak with him. She told Charles about her visions, and though many were skeptical, Charles agreed to let her try. A teenage commander. Joan was given armor, a sword, and a white banner with holy symbols. She cut her hair short and dressed like a soldier so she could travel safely with the army. At only 17 years old, she inspired the troops with her courage and faith. The Siege of Orleans. In one of her first battles, Joan helped lift the English siege of the city of Orleans. Her bold leadership and strong belief in victory gave new hope to the French army. This victory marked a turning point in the war and made Joan famous throughout France. The king is crowned. After more military success, Joan led Charles to the city of Reims for his coronation. On July 17, 1429, Charles was crowned King of France, just as Joan had promised. She stood proudly at his side, knowing she had fulfilled the task she believed came from God. Captured in battle. In 1430, while trying to protect the town of Compiègne, Joan was captured by enemy forces. She was sold to the English, who considered her a dangerous enemy and wanted to destroy her. Despite her great service to France, Charles made no effort to save her. A trial against her. Joan was put on trial by a group of church officials working for the English. They accused her of heresy, claiming her visions were false and that she had sinned by dressing like a man. Joan bravely defended herself, speaking with strength and intelligence. A hero's death. Although there was no real evidence against her, Joan was found guilty. On May 30, 1431, she was burned at the stake in the city of Rouen. She was only 19 years old, and many who watched believed she was innocent and holy. Justice comes later. Years after her death, a new trial was held to review her case. In 1456, the Church declared Joan innocent and said her first trial had been unfair. In 1920, she was officially named a saint by the Catholic Church. A legend lives on. Joan of Arc became one of the most famous and honored women in history. She is remembered for her bravery, her faith in God, and her love for her country. Even today, she inspires people around the world to stand up for what they believe in.
Learn vocabulary using in the story.
Peasant. A poor farmer with little money or power. Example: Joan was born a peasant in a small village in France. Devotion. Deep love, loyalty, or faith towards something or someone. Example: Joan showed strong devotion to her religion and her country. Heir. A person who has the right to inherit a title or throne. Example, Charles VII was the heir to the French throne. Coronation. A ceremony where a king or queen is officially crowned. Example, Joan helped lead Charles to his coronation in Reims. Vision. A spiritual or dreamlike experience believed to have meaning. Example, Joan said she had visions of saints telling her to help France. Saint. A holy person honored by the Church for their goodness. Example, Joan believed saints like Saint Michael spoke to her. Mission. A special task or duty someone is sent to do. Example, Joan believed God had given her a mission to save France. Armor. Metal clothing worn by soldiers for protection in battle. Example, Joan wore armor to lead French troops into war. Siege. When an army surrounds a city to capture it. Example, Joan helped lift the siege of Orleans. Inspire. To fill someone with confidence or courage. Example, Joan inspired the soldiers to fight bravely for France. Heretic. A person accused of going against the Church's teachings. Example, Joan was unfairly called a heretic during her trial. Trial. A legal process to decide if someone is guilty. Example, Joan was put on trial by her enemies. Execution. The act of killing someone as punishment. Example, Joan was sentenced to execution and burned at the stake. Martyr. A person who dies for their beliefs. Example, many saw Joan as a martyr who died for her faith and country. Canonize. To officially name someone a saint. Example, Joan was canonized by the Catholic Church in 1920. Legacy. What someone leaves behind or how they are remembered. Example, Joan of Arc's legacy still inspires people today.